Hello, and welcome to the Enneagram of Essence Learning Communities Basics course. I am Tammy, and I will be guiding you through this entire course. And we're going to start out now with our introduction. So, the contents of this lesson are the origins of the Enneagram, its symbolism, the essence of the types, what we mean by personality, the three centers, and we'll end by exploring what we mean by wholeness and check out whether you are more than a type. So the Enneagram has a somewhat mysterious historical lineage. It's also somewhat debated. Most of us agree that it has roots that can be traced back over a millennium to spiritual traditions, including Christian mysticism, Islamic Sufism, and Jewish Kabbalah. There are fragments of the Enneagram symbol that can be traced back to classical Greece. That is as far as I'm going to go into the origins in this basics course. I cover it further in my longer course, but to be fair, as my son says, I am not that interested in trying to uncover the what I consider to be the true roots of the Enneagram. There's some teachers that are very fascinated by the historical significance of it, and I would invite you to check them out. I am more interested in what it is for us today, how it can actually bring a positive, practical, real felt positive transformation into our relationship with ourselves and our relationship with others and the world. And I'm also interested in the future of the Enneagram more than the past and helping it evolve into a model that is even more practical and nourishing. So that said, the Enneagram has ancient roots, but we know that the contemporary approaches of the Enneagram of personality are primarily derived from the teachings of a Bolivian psychospiritual teacher, Oscar Ichazo, from the 1950s, and a Chilean psychiatrist, Claudio Naranjo, from the 1970s. Now, the Enneagram is applied in many modern contexts. It's used for personal growth, psychotherapy, life coaching, organizational development. It's in corporate settings. There's a lot of contemporary uses, which has been really exciting to watch evolve over the last couple decades from when I first met the Enneagram. The Enneagram typology defines 9 personality types, sometimes called Enneatypes, which are represented by these 9 points on this geometric figure that we call the Enneagram. Ennea meaning 9 and gramos meaning something written or a figure. It's just simply a 9-pointed figure. And it outlines 9 distinct personality types. So each of these points represents a type that has its own set of motivations, fears, and desires that influence our behavior. There's also an underlying essence to each type. Some traditions acknowledge and may give you the labels for. Other traditions don't even acknowledge the essence that underlies the types. As you may have guessed, in the Enneagram of Essence tradition, we center the essence of the types. Deeper into the symbolism, the Enneagram figure is composed of 3 parts: an outer circle, an inner triangle, and an irregular hexagonal figure. So according to some traditions, the outer circle symbolizes unity and the law of 1. The inner triangle symbolizes the law of 3 and connects points 3, 6, and 9, relates to the idea that there are 3 forces required for any change to occur. Then there's the law of 7, which is this hexagram, because points 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, and 7 is a repeating decimal that is created by dividing 1 by 7. So the law of 7 explains why there's always ups and downs in life which occur in a lawful manner. The lines of the Enneagram that connect the points. So if you notice, each of these 9 points is connected by 2 lines, which bring it down to 2 other points. So think of these lines as not just random connections, but as pathways that offer us a deeper glimpse into our personality. So some Enneagram traditions refer to these as our relaxed and stressed pathways or movements, or the points of our integration and disintegration. So these lines suggest that our core type is just a part of our story. They show that we have got 2 other types that we swing to under different life scenarios, when we are relaxed in our comfort zone and when we are under the stress of life. And the Enneagram of Essence takes this notion that we are more than a type even further than just the 2 points that the lines bring us down to. Before we go into the personality features, I want to begin with essence. In this model, we center essence, the universal quality at the core of each type. Some traditions might call it a sacred quality or our unconditioned nature. It is an inner nourishment beyond the limits of your personality traits. Although you cannot measure essence, you can certainly feel its nourishing effects within your nervous system. For over 2 decades, I taught, studied, and lived the Enneagram of personality. But through my journey, I've discovered a deeper dimension to this powerful system. A key distinction in this approach of the Enneagram of Essence is to prioritize essence over personality. So instead of focusing solely on personality traits and behaviors, we center the nourishing qualities that underpin the types. This becomes a practical journey of profound inner nourishment. We view the personality traits as symptoms that emerge when we lose touch with our inner essence. We do learn about all the traditional teachings of the Enneagram of personality. We understand the personality types. This is very important. This keeps us connected with the broader Enneagram teachings, but we center essence because of its transformative power. To truly actually connect with essence, we use embodiment techniques from somatic experiencing, somatic traditions that help us tap into a level of felt nourishment, which is how our personality traits actually finally begin to soften and heal. Okay, now we can talk about personality fixation. And maybe you're wondering, if these qualities of my essence are my true nature, why don't I feel them more readily? And the answer traces back to early life challenges that shifted your focus away from your inner essence, leading you toward a more restricted or conditioned version of yourself. And this shift is commonly known as fixation. So early in life, we become anchored in one of our 3 centers: head, heart, and gut. And within one of the 3 expressions of that center, which is our primary type. So we become early in life fixated in one of these parts of ourself. So stress is very important when we talk about personality. Your upbringing, challenges, and cultural background are all pivotal in forming your personality fixations. All of these external stressors in our life ignite survival responses, which evolve into the traits of the types. And what I mean by stress is anywhere on the spectrum, from obvious stress, even trauma, to even if we're born into an ideal situation, an ideal family, just being born into this life at this time on the earth, we are going to encounter stress, which is going to ignite our survival biology. And that evolves into a specific way of coping. So our personality traits are coping mechanisms, helping us navigate stress. And interestingly, they are also specific ways that we are trying to reconnect with the inner nourishment of our essence, which is lost in early life. So when we talk about the personality types, we will cover them in 4 categories. We will talk about the primary desire, which is the driving motivation under the type, the primary emotion, which comes from the primary center. Each center has a primary emotion, and each type has a unique way that they process or cope with the primary emotion. Then there's the primary fixation, which is a habitual focus or a kind of obsession for each type, and it has a very fascinating connection to the essence of the type, and the primary shadow of each personality type, which is an unconscious aspect that each type is negating or disowning. This part is very important. At the core of the Enneagram lies the concept of 3 centers of awareness, or often called intelligence. You navigate the world through these 3 centers: head, heart, and gut. And they serve as a lens through which you experience and engage with life, each marked by a primary emotion and a primary essence. So you have all three centers, obviously. So we have the gut center types, or sometimes called the body center types, which is at the top of the Enneagram, 8, 9, and 1. The primary emotion is anger, and the primary essence is power. On the right, we have the heart center types, 2, 3, and 4. The primary emotion is sadness, and the primary essence is love. And on the left, we have our head types, 5, 6, and 7. The primary emotion is fear, and the primary essence is wisdom. So you will lead with one of these centers, and within each center, there are 3 expressions or orientations: inward facing, outward facing, or a balancing act. You will become fixated or have one of those as your primary type. Another cornerstone of this approach, the Enneagram of Essence, is the concept of wholeness. So we utilize the Enneagram as a framework for discovering all 9 types within us. We take the traditional teachings of our 3 centers, head, heart, and gut, very seriously. We view these 3 centers as the foundation of our wholeness. This understanding moves the Enneagram from a tool that just gives us insight into all the elements of a personality type. It brings it into a model that we can use for real growth and maturity. Since we embody all 3 centers, right? You have a head, a heart, and a gut. You also embody the 3 expressions of each of those centers. That means that you inherently possess all 9 types. Real growth and maturity is linked to how much of ourself we can become conscious of and aware of, and how much of ourself we can hold and accept and embody. Maturity is linked to how integrated we are as a whole human being. Do we know all 3 of our centers? Are we using all 3 of our centers as we move through life and make decisions in life? Are we not only aware of all 3 centers, but really living in them and gathering resources from them and expressing the essence of all 3 of our centers? We are complex beings. They're not defined by a single type or a single motivation or need. For instance, we each seek and need security, which is a head center need. We all need love, which is our heart center's need. We all need autonomy, which is from our gut center. And by focusing exclusively on one primary type without acknowledging the presence and importance of all 9 types within, we remain blind to a range of inner dimensions, motivations, and needs. And we shut ourselves off from the nutrients or inner resources that the essence of all 9 types provide us. So while identifying your primary type is very valuable, it's something that I will help you with, but the journey does not end there. It is key to discover and connect with the essence of all 9 types as a comprehensive path to tapping into the full spectrum of our inner resources. What do you think? Do you have a head, a heart, and a gut? Have you ever met anyone who is lacking a head, a heart, or a gut? It's really that simple. So I invite you to think about your inner self, your inner world, and your underlying essence as a tapestry woven from 9 distinct threads, each symbolizing a different Enneagram type. While some threads are denser, filling out more of the tapestry, all 9 threads are present, contributing to your complete design. And that concludes our introduction for this course. Your next step is to join me in Module 1, and we will begin to explore your head center types 7, 6, and 5. If you don't already have it, check out my book. It is available on Amazon. It is a beautiful companion to this course, and it is the textbook for our longer 9-month training program. And if you're taking this course now outside of our community, perhaps on Udemy, I invite you to join our Enneagram of Essence learning community. We offer 3 tiers of engagement for wherever you're at on the Enneagram journey, from the basics all the way to deep diving into a 9-month comprehensive, in-depth, accredited certification program. So check us out, and I will see you in the first module, Exploring Your Head Center.